Channeling. When channeling, it is so easy to lose the link and let one's own brain talk to us and give us nonsense. It is only the quality of the information that tells us if we're really in touch with a higher power or just our own imagination talking to us. When channeling, even if the questions I ask are simple ones, I write everything down. That way I can feel if I lose the link to the GWB and it is me that has taken over. Channeling or telepathy requires a unique link to be made between us and the person with whom we wish to communicate. All is vibration. So you have a vibration and I have a vibration. If I reach out through an aura, I send my thoughts encoded in my unique vibration or carrier wave. With you it is the same. So if any two people wish to communicate telepathically, it is necessary for those two people to create a third frequency encoded with a unique vibration, unique to those two people. Then the information can pass. This is not easy to do, but we have to maintain that link, which is not easy. Telepathy uses a frequency that is very close to the sleep vibration. Thus, our poor brain starts to think that we want to go to sleep and starts to drag us into sleep. At that point, the link can be broken. Equally, if we start to listen to the information being received, our mind can break the link and we start to write down our thoughts and not the thoughts of the higher being. Many famous people have built careers and given lectures pretending to be a channeler, but they are only channeling their own thoughts. So, just to make this clear, we can only channel a higher being if that being agrees and creates a third frequency unique to the higher being and the channeler. We, as far as I know, cannot make this third frequency. At least I don't know how. I have to wait for a guide to wish to contact me initially. Once that frequency is created, I can, of course, reach out to the guide and communicate. But as I said, this communication is very close to the sleep frequency, and I start to feel drowsy after a while. When that happens, I stop, take a break to wake up, and then carry on. So, I would suggest that if you are channeling and you don't feel drowsy, you are not in that channel state. Then, of course, to channel, we need to get our mind out of the way and just let the information flow. If we start to think about what is being said, we lose the link. By the way, I never follow or read about anyone. That way, any information that I receive, I know, comes from the GWB and not from my memory of other people's teachings nor from my imagination. I have never heard of Dr. Stone, but I have checked him out. He was a sincere man, but got somewhat led astray. The Theosophical movement was, at its outset, a good organization, and the GWB used to work in cohesion with it. But once the creators died, Dr. Charles Leadbeater, for example, it was taken over by people with less than noble intentions, and the GWB broke contact. I understand that Dr. Stone worked with this later group, so there is a red flag there. Then I understand that Dr. Stone contacted the Ashtar Command. The Ashtar Command pretends to be an ET group working for the benefit of humanity. In fact, it is an artificial intelligence, AI, machine put into the etheric realm by a group of evil greys, and the object is to feed us false information and corrupt the spiritual path. These greys work with the reptilians and the archons, so anyone who contacts that AI machine will be fed rubbish that sounds convincing. It is in the etheric realm, just outside of our three-dimensional world, and is easy to make contact with. True guides are in a much higher dimension, so there is another red flag. Also, in the etheric is another AI machine called the Voice of God technology. This was put there by the Greys and the US military and can feed false information. That too is easy to make contact with. Now I must change subjects. Many years ago, primitive man created the concept that all things on Earth were created by and under the control of so-called gods, weather, health, prosperity, karma, and on and on. I say created by primitive man, but the original idea came from the Archons and was designed to keep man in fear. Fear is food for the Archons. But primitive man, created in the etheric realm, thought forms by constantly thinking about these so-called gods. And these thought forms exist to this day and have become thinking entities to a certain extent. But they were not real people. They were and are thought forms given life by people's energy praying to them for help. Help, which never arrives, of course. Over the years, these so-called gods were given names by different groups of people. The Egyptians, the Greeks, Norse people, the Romans, and so on. They exist to this day in Christianity and in Islam. The names of these gods have changed over the centuries. We call them saints or archangels today, but they are all just these thought forms that were created long ago. They exist in the etheric realm and are not true advanced beings, just thought forms easy to contact. Another red flag. I will add that there are true archangels, but they are occupied by tasks far above our earthly worries. A true guide will be someone not far removed from your level. A higher guide could not contact you because the difference in spirituality between both of you would be too great. So, a guide will be someone very similar to you. He will have an ordinary name and will gladly tell you all his personal information. He will not have a fancy name, but whatever his earthly name was, Fred, Joe, Jim, or Harry. He will not tell you he is an archangel, and he will not say that he is from some ridiculously high dimension, but he will be in the higher fourth dimension, impossible for most people to reach, which is why most people just reach into the etheric and contact these AI machines. So, to keep this as short as I can, it is easy to be taught about evolution and spirituality, but we need to be careful of our source of contact. Many good people have been led astray by contact with thought forms and AI machines that all are in the etheric realm. None of them are truly what they pretend they are. I cannot give you proof positive of what I have written above. What I have told you is given to me by the GWB, and you either believe it or not. Credits Bob Saunders.